Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to welcome you to today's episode. We have somebody extremely special. Please welcome Jay and his mom, Kate, to the show.
Hi. Hello, guys.
I am so thrilled to say that I think that I have known Jay almost from the beginning of the inception of Runway of Dreams, and have really gotten to know the whole family so well. So this is a true honor to have them on the show today. Jay, maybe you could start out and share with our audience a little bit about your story, who you are, what's happening in Jay's life.
So I have cerebral palsy, a form of stroke that makes my left side weaker.
That's right. And how old are you now?
9.
You're 9 years old. So you were born like this, just like Oliver. He was born with muscular dystrophy. So this is the life that you know, correct? Right? And you have your own style, you have your own way. Is that something that you just kind of developed over time, or you always kind of knew that you were going to be a kind of cool cat?
Developed over time. That did not come overnight.
So it's something that you worked on over the past 9 years of developing who Jay is.
Picking his own haircut.
Yeah. Look at what he's wearing. I mean, this is definitely not a typical 9-year-old. So
he's wearing suits.
I love it. And Kate, from your perspective, just kind of take us back to the beginning of Jay's your oldest, right? Your first child. And I think that's really important to share. You know, what was life like at that point in time when all of a sudden you are a new mom, you're a mom of a child with a disability and cerebral palsy. Just kind of take us through back to that point of life.
It was really hard when he was little because we didn't know he was born with cerebral palsy for a while. He was always so far behind, and I had been reassured, that this was just a boy being a boy, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And when we finally did get the diagnosis at 11 months old that he had strokes and that's what caused the cerebral palsy. And it was very isolating. I didn't want to go on the play dates anymore. When I did, I was with my kids and everybody else was having fun because I had to hold his hips so that he could play around with them. And so that was even harder because then I go home and then I would just be a little bit more emotional after the play dates. So I isolated myself. I figured, what can I do now that we know, what in the world can I do to make sure that he's the strongest and he's prepared as much as we possibly can for what's to come. And so we started the path of physical therapy, occupational therapy, eating, swallowing therapy. Eventually I researched a procedure that he did have done called selective dorsal rhizotomy. It was a big back procedure he had done in St. Louis. He had that at age 2.5. And when he was 3.5, he had Achilles tendon surgery. So he both had those.
Released it? Make it.
Yeah, they lengthened it.
It
was tight. And then we continued doing therapies. And, I never thought of putting Jay into acting or modeling. I mean, he really enjoys the camera. He always enjoyed taking pictures with me, but we were focused on therapy. And there was no way I could just drop him off at some theater event. I mean, I was with him. He had an adult with him at all times. He didn't start walking until he was 3. And it was not your typical walking and, here they go. It was very cautious walking. So we had a very, very regimented way to get him just to develop normally. And that normal was very abnormal, but it was to get him to be independent. And so when he was entering kindergarten is when I really took a look and said, what are his needs so that he's comfortable in a classroom with normal, typical, neurotypical children. That's when I met you.
I really love hearing kind of that journey of everything because I think it's so real. Oh, wait, do we want to add something?
He was just wanting to make sure. He loves the NBA, and he knows that Achilles injuries are common in the NBA. He just wanted to make sure that people knew that his Achilles was not that type of Achilles injury.
Yes, you know what? Thank you for clarifying that, because people may have been confused as to whether it was a basketball injury or we were lengthening.
Yeah, or if it was like some sort of injury.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to absolutely clarify that. Thank you. But Kate, what I love is I know that you and I share this as mothers of sons with disabilities. It can be extremely lonely, and it is not how you thought things were going to go, and you have to manage through it with no rule books and try to keep life as typical and normal as you can for the family. And you also have a younger daughter that
even the decision to have a second child was a tough one, and it came with a lot of anxiety, and until she was born and actually developing and meeting all her milestones, it was very different. And I'm very thankful I did make the decision to have Ivy, my daughter, but it was tough.
I am right there with you. I begged for a third child, and I just knew in my heart that somebody was missing from the craziness that we had in our life, and it's the best thing we ever did. But I want to go back to, was there a time or a moment that you and Jay had that you're like, I'm going to switch kind of the way I'm thinking about this. Maybe this is, a gift. Maybe this is something that is enhancing my life versus the loneliness and the kind of, at least for me, I had definitely a time of why us, why Oliver, why everything. And, there was a moment of clarity or a pivot in our life. Did you have something like that?
Definitely. As he started going to school, I didn't want him to just be judged because he walked with a limp, and, his arm is turned a certain way, because he actually has a huge personality and he has tons of interest, and he's, kids to be friends with, and I just didn't want the other kids not to be able to see that, and so I wanted him to have a sense of, self of confidence, and to know who he was, because he can't go be competitive. He loves basketball, but that's not something I can just go stick him in. So I did notice a spark when we actually went to your runway show, and the only reason I went to your runway show when he was 5 years old is to say thank you, because the clothing that you guys had made such a difference in kindergarten for him. Because the one thing that he felt, I don't know if the word embarrassed, but different, was that he had a helper in the bathroom and he couldn't buckle up his jeans. And so that made a big difference to be able to do that himself in kindergarten. And I saw that was something that he liked to have, those type of clothing. And I just didn't know what to do. So I just wanted to come and say thank you. I didn't even know you at that point. And then you guys called him out, and he had some photographs taken of him, when we were just guests at that show. I couldn't even believe the child I was seeing. An extremely confident child, speaking to adults, posing, showing the magnets. I said, Jay, do you like this? Because I want to do this, Mom. I want to be part of this. I like this. And then I said, okay, you know what? I'll do my best. I'll see where this takes us. And I had no idea it would take us all the way to New York City.
Exactly. And just to clarify for any of our audience members, so what Kate was referring to was through Runway Dreams, our nonprofit partner, we do a big runway show every year during New York Fashion Week, and which I still to this day, like, fills my heart that you guys came to the show just to be a part of this back in 2016. And that is really when we met. And since then, Jay has actually not only been in our runway shows, but he has been in ad campaigns for Tommy Adaptive, for Apamon, who else?
We launched the new clothing brand on a commercial, and I was in it dancing.
That's right. And Kohl's.
Did you do Kohl's? With who did you do Kohl's with?
I did Kohl's with Mindy.
Yeah. And did you get to bring your dog with you?
Yes.
That was fun. His service dog came with us to Kohl's, so that was fun. We've had such a journey of just, he's able to express himself, and he's met so many people, and his confidence level because of your Runway of Dreams and now Gamut. We're just very thankful.
But I think there's something so important to discuss in that part of it is really it's coming from Jay, right? We can't create confidence in other people. It's really the fact that he gets to be himself and he gets to feel part of the mainstream world and conversation, and he shines on his own. As much as I would love to take credit for anything, this is all him. And I think that's really the underscoring of what we're trying to do, is just have the world understand that people with disabilities are just people, just kids, just not that just want to be included. And I think Jay is an absolute spectacular example of just that. And that's why I'm hoping this show will be very important, because I hope that there's other kids out there that are looking at Jay and thinking, my God, he's so comfortable in his own skin, and he has cerebral palsy, and he walks with a limp, and who cares? That feels like what I do. And I think that's a really important thing. So we haven't even talked about kind of one of the most exciting things that Jay just did. If I can spill the beans a little bit, somebody in the show, and it certainly wasn't me, was on Broadway.
It was not me.
It was me, for sure. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
You want to talk? Okay, first of all, you have to tell them. So what is Broadway? Is that something in Virginia? That's where we normally live.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Tell us more. What's Broadway?
New York.
Definitely New York City.
Yes. And the biggest acting in the world.
Biggest
I would
acting
say
stage
so.
I know of.
Yeah.
People don't get there in their lifetime. Certainly not by 9 years old.
No. So what was it like? So first
What
of all, they
show
don't
were
know.
you on?
They don't know, what show you were on and how you got the role.
I was on Tiny Tim, and I got the role actually from Mindy, and then to another acting model from Tommy Hilfiger.
Okay, and what's the name of the show? I know you played the role of Tiny Tim, but what was the name of the show?
A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, kind of
So
a
it was
well-known, pretty big deal type of show. I was lucky enough to be there opening night, and the theater went bananas when they saw you. Literally bananas. It was probably one of the highlights in my life. I can't even imagine what it was like for you. What was it like?
It was crazy. I don't even know how to explain it.
What was your feeling? Was you
Confident.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, and that's pretty amazing to feel confident in a big theater. You're a new actor, you're taking on this really important role, but you owned it, right? Because you felt so comfortable with who you are, and that you developed a craft, that you were a good actor, and you made it happen. And none of this has anything to do with your disability. It's just
it doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't.
No, it certainly doesn't define who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
We're so unbelievably proud of you. It was, as I said, a highlight for sure in my life to see you on that stage. If there was somebody out there, a young kid that also has a disability, what would you say to them if they said, wow, I want to be like Jay, I would love to be an actor, I'd love to be a model? What would you say to them?
Follow your dreams. It may happen, it may not.
Right? You're right, because that's life. Things could happen, they couldn't, but they certainly did for you. And that's because you made it happen. That's because you believed in yourself, and you have amazing support with your parents, but the opportunities are there. You have to get after them, right? And you sure did that. It was so amazing, this whole experience. And we certainly felt lucky to be by your side during the whole ride. Kate, how about from your perspective? What would you say to moms that are looking at you and saying, my God, how do you do this all? And by the way, what's your day job, please?
By day, I'm usually a physician, a doctor. But with COVID-19, I'm home a lot more and only in the office once a week.
But beside the world, in the craziness that it is, I mean, you have a serious full-time job. So it's not like you went, all in, stage mom, nothing, you just did you. But I would love for you to maybe give some advice to any other moms out there.
So you do the best you can, because I'm a working mom and busy. We make sure we touch base about what Jay wants. I'm not going to put him in anything that he doesn't want. He enjoys modeling, but he doesn't want to, audition for things that are scary or things that that he doesn't want to be part of. So he likes.
That's funny.
He's talking about his little sister. So I get what he wants to do from him, and I don't push anything upon him. I don't force him to do any auditions or force him to do anything. And hopefully we have an open relationship where he's comfortable to tell me like that he liked this or that he didn't like this, or can things be different. And so we learned a lot about living in New York for 3 months, and I hope that we get a chance to do it again. We learned quite a bit about what worked and what didn't work. Jay not only has cerebral palsy, but he also has ADHD, which is very common. And it's when you're a little hyper and you have to focus.
Oh yeah,
I
do ADHD.
So we learned what works and what doesn't work about that too. And that takes a lot of communication with him.
I'm very hyper.
Sometimes that's true.
Great job in this interview, though. You're extremely focused.
Yeah.
And so we have pep talks and we prep for things. Like I told them that this isn't just a phone chat with Mindy, like we've done them, many times, but this will be video recorded for other children and for other parents to see that, even if things are against you, like cerebral palsy, ADHD, you can find a way. Whatever the way is, it might not be an easy path. I had no idea that our path was going to go this way, but we followed it. And I wanted to just encourage others to try to follow things that your child's interested in, whether it's singing, it's acting, whatever it happens to be, because you'll spark a joy in them, and then that can just continue for a lifetime.
I love it.
I mean, now he wants to be an actor. He's starting to sing. He's got singing lessons. He has so many wonderful Broadway friends, and we've auditioned for several things since then. And if we get rejected, we get rejected, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing.
Life.
Exactly. Just keep on trying.
What you're going after. You're creating a whole new path for yourself. And that's so commendable and so wonderful and really inspirational that anybody can do anything. Right, Jay? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you guys so much for being on the show today. But before we go, I always like to ask one final question to all the guests. I have something that in my office called a vision board, which I put all things that I want to accomplish in my life, no matter how big the dream is. Like I actually have myself sitting next to Ellen on her show because I'm going to make that happen someday. Jay, what would be your biggest dream of all time that you would put on your vision board?
Being involved with an NBA basketball team.
Love it. And playing? Are you playing on the team?
Have some things that he can envision himself doing and being part of the NBA.
Even my dad says I had the mind of an NBA general manager. That's when you like manage the players.
Yeah. I think that would be
like trades and all that stuff.
Yeah. And guess what? You generally can't get hurt that way. And your Achilles and all of the things that
No. Seems like a safe place for him.
I love that. Get that on your vision board immediately.
Oh, it's there. Trust me.
I love it. So thank you guys so much for joining us today on the latest episode of the Gamut Network. Before we go, is there a way, let's say somebody wants to get in touch with you or follow you on social media, what's the best place for them to go?
Jai Ram Srinivasan official.
Yep, that's his Instagram is Jai Ram Srinivasan. It's a long one.
SRINIVASAN.
Perfect. Official. So you can find us there, and I do post often just to keep everybody up to date with what we're doing.
Love it. So please check out everything that Jai has done and what's happening, what's going to happen. It's a really exciting journey. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Mindy. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Please email us at talent@gamutmanagement.com and tell us a little bit about why you would be a great guest on our show.